I have with me on the line my guest is David Bego. He is the president and CEO of Executive Management Services, EMS, and that is a national janitorial service that he started, and he wrote a book called The Devil at My Doorstep. I want to welcome you, David, to the show. How are you tonight?
Good, Maggie. Thank you for having me on the show.
Thank you for coming on, and thank you for writing that book and telling your story.
Well, I felt like I had to do it, Maggie, because unfortunately I don't think a lot of the American people understand what's happening out there, and I think somebody had to expose it.
Well, David, tell a little bit about your background, what the book is about, what happened that compelled you to write this book, The Devil at My Doorstep.
Well, I am a microbiologist by trade, and I actually worked in the agribusiness industry for almost 10 years, and I ran union plants during that time and was a turnaround specialist, and basically did it by taking care of people and the environment they worked in. And I got into the cleaning business in 1989 because of a turn of events with what I considered bad management, and started EMS and started a company on my own and grew it from myself and my wife, and today we're in 36 states, and we have about 5,000 employees, and we have always based our company on trying to do the right things for our employees, and even back in the mid to late 90s we started providing benefits and health care and vacation pay and holiday pay and stuff like that other cleaning companies didn't do. And then in 2005, the Service Employees International Union came along and tried to force unionize our employees, and I couldn't stand to see them intimidate and coerce and bribe people the way they did. And upon contact with them, they wanted me to sign a neutrality agreement, which is like card check, but they're trying to pass through Congress.
Right.
And I told them I wouldn't sign the agreement, and they looked at me and they said, Mr. Bego, we enjoy conversation, but we embrace confrontation. We're going to attack you and your people and customers.
They were going to take you down. I have a clip that I want to play for the listeners. Andy Stern is the president of SEIU, the Service Employees International Union, for those of you listening who aren't quite sure who Andy Stern is. And Andy Stern is the best buddy of Barack Obama. In fact, in 6 months' time last year, he was in the White House 22 times. He's actually, I think, the most frequent visitor to the White House. And in fact, he probably sleeps between Michelle and Barack Obama when he's not at home in his own bed when he visits the White House. So this is a man who is in bed with the White House, who is out intimidating and trying to destroy corporations if they won't acquiesce to his demands. So let's play that clip, please, Dean.
The top visitor on the list is Andy Stern, the president of the Service Employees International Union, with 22 visits.
And we are beginning. We have offices now in Australia and in Switzerland, in London, in South America, and Africa. We've been working with unions around the world, and what we're working towards is building a global organization, because workers of the world unite. It's not just a slogan anymore. It's a way we're going to have to do our work. We're trying to use the power of persuasion. And if that doesn't work, we're going to use the persuasion of power, because there are governments and there are opportunities to change laws that affect these companies. I'm not naive. We're ready to strike.
You know, David...
It started last summer with the so-called Big Box Ordinance. Labor wanted it, business didn't.
We took names. We watched how they voted. We know where they live.
In October, Andy Stern, the president of the Service Employees International Union.
There are opportunities in America to share better in the wealth, to rebalance the power, and unions and government are part of the solution.
Well, I guess what they want to do, David, they want to share in your wealth, don't they?
Well, yeah, they do, and it's not just that. What really appalled me and really got me motivated was the fact that they're using the people, like our employees and the people they salt into the employers' ranks, and they intimidate them, and they threaten them, and they bribe them, and these poor people, all they want to do is do their jobs. And he made the comment on the clip there, the persuasion of power, and that's what it's all about. They don't want to negotiate with anybody. They don't want to talk to anybody. They just want to tell you what you're going to do and move on.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. They want total control. In fact, I'm not quite sure where I just heard this recently, but one of the comments out of it was either Andy Stern or one of the other union leaders on that level is that they actually want to take over all of the companies in this country, and they want control of not just your business, but all the other businesses out there. That's what their intention is. This isn't really about sharing anything. It's about them controlling, and maybe if you're lucky, maybe you'll get, I don't know, maybe a sandwich at lunch or something. You know what I mean? It's just, it really isn't about, you started your business, you put your dollars together, you worked hard, and I'm sure you still continue to work hard. I had a small business, and I know how many hours I put in, and my business didn't grow anywhere near to the number of workers you've had, or was it in as many states, and I know how many hours I put in. So they're not interested in the fact that you worked hard, and through your sweat and tears and hard work, made your business what it is. That's absolutely irrelevant. The American dream, as far as they're concerned, is the confiscation of the American dream to meet their ends and their objectives.
Well, you're exactly right. And to even take it a step further, Andy Stern is a socialist, and he believes that, just like the current administration, that they ought to control everything we do in our lives.
Yes.
And they're bent on taking away our freedoms, and it's like the card check, taking away the secret ballot election. I mean, how much more American can you get than a secret ballot election?
No, you can't at all. In fact, privacy and freedom in this country, that's the basis, that's the foundation that this country was built on. So this Employee Free Choice Act, which of course the name free choice would imply that you had some choice, when in reality it's forced choice. It's not a free choice at all. It's such a misnomer, but that's so characteristic that every way that they go about hustling people, they use whatever word they're choosing to use, their true meaning is 180 degrees the opposite of what it is that they're saying. There is no
that's right.
choice.
And in our case, I offered to have an election with them many times. In fact, I took out an ad in the Indianapolis Star where half-page ads where we said, fish or cut bait. Let's have an election. If you guys win, we'll live with it. If you lose, go away. And we never got a response from them.
Sure, because they wanted to have the card check. They wanted to be able to see how people voted. They didn't want a fair election.
Well, that's exactly right. And, as they were trying to get some of our employees on their side during this thing, and by the way, we have about 400 employees in the Indianapolis metropolitan area, and they did get, at one point, 10 people out of 400 to go out on strike.
Right.
But we know for a fact that half of them were people they salted into our ranks, and the other 5 were people that they intimidated in signing union cards. And it was pathetic the way they did it. I mean, we had one gal that worked for us in a high-rise downtown that every night they harassed her to sign a card, and she kept telling them, "No, I'm happy, leave me alone." And she was scared. Our supervisors had to walk her out at night, and then they offered her money. They bribed her, and she said, "No, I'm not interested." She had a police officer intervene, and then finally, after about 3 weeks, one of the union thugs went to her and said, "Look, you're going to be union whether you like it or not, sign the card."
Yeah. Yeah. Now, everything that the unions do today is the antithesis of what their original intent was. And I'm sure, David, we could agree on the fact that at one point in time, 80, 100 years ago, when unions first were formed, were there violations was there problems with worker safety and in environments that people worked in? And that, of course, there were. There was, child labor and all of those different things. But our laws have since taken care of that stuff. So we don't need unions today. We have worker safety laws and we have labor relations laws that more than accommodate any of the original gripes and concerns which motivated people to form unions in the first place. Now, to me, they're just shakedown artists.
Well, absolutely. You're 100% correct. And back in the early 1900s, yeah, there was definitely problems. But, we have the EEOC today, we have the National Labor Relations Board, we've got the Department of Labor. There's all kind of agencies for people to go to take care of any grievances they may have. But the other side of it is most businesses today know that if they're going to keep good people, they got to take care of them and treat them right.
Sure.
And the only reason the unions are so aggressive and want the card check and ran this campaign against me, by the way, which is called a corporate campaign, or death by 1,000 cuts,
right,
is because they are losing members and they're losing revenues and they're failing and they need money. They're dinosaurs.
Right.